Can We Talk R&B podcast. I am your R&B ambassador, and I got a legend in the building. We just gonna cool out for a second, because when my team gave me a call, it was like, "Yo, we got Christopher Williams." I was like, "What? Don't wake me, I'm dreaming." You know, I'm like, "No way!" Like,
Ian got swabbles.
come on, dog. Come on, man. This is what we do. Look, I got a legend in the building. We have the legendary Christopher Williams on the Can We Talk R&B podcast. What's good, brother?
What's good, Ian? How you feel, man?
Man, I'm love.
It's
I'm
so
love.
funny.
I'm
You just
blessed.
said the Can We Talk podcast, which I was excited to come on. I just got off the phone with the writer of Can We Talk, I'll be sure.
Come on.
I literally just hung up to jump on the call.
Come on. I love that. Well, we got to get LB.
Big shout to the OG Splash brother, the twin.
Come on, man. Come on. Look, speaking of I'll be sure, it's funny. I was talking to my wife earlier today. I was like, "Yo," I said, "I have Christopher Williams on the show," and so all morning I've been playing the music all day, just kind of just bringing it back. And then she's like, she's dancing. She didn't know why I'm playing the music, and I'm like, "Yeah, I got Christopher Williams on the show," and she's like, "Oh my God, like I haven't heard these songs in so long," and it's one of those things, like, you know, what I love about this show is having the opportunity to give flowers to our legends, to the legacy artists who paved the way for all of us in R&B music across the board. And it's just such an honor to have you on the show. So thank you for making the time.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. It's an honor that people still, check for C-Dub and remember the thing, the journey, man. It's just all a journey.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's get into it. So, I mean, how does it feel to be releasing new music in this new era?
It feels good, man. I feel like I'm starting over. That's why it feels so good. It's like a rebirth, born again. It's still so much to learn, so much I know traditionally, but yet so much to learn. I'm always into, like youth and innovation, and I think they work hand in hand. Wisdom and innovation and youth work hand in hand. Youth needs wisdom to know how to plan, and we need the young and the innovation to know, like, what's popping today, you know what I'm saying, what's good. So it can correlate. Not that I'm trying to make, records for 20-year-olds, but at the same time, I understand that music is a sound and a frequency. And just like your wife said, it could take a long time to hear the song, but when a song makes you feel good, no matter when you catch it, it could be at you visiting the family or the holidays, you're like, oh, that was my joint, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, it makes me feel good.
Absolutely.
That's the vibration of music. It's a good vibe, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So when just even in that context, so obviously the industry, or the sound rather, has changed. Obviously the industry's changed too, but the sound has changed of R&B music, right? So when we first were introduced to you, it was, I guess the tail end, or somewhere in the middle of the New Jack Swing R&B era, combination of that and you being a powerhouse balladeer, essentially. And now fast forward a couple of decades later, we don't really hear that many R&B artists really opening up vocally and just really like putting it all on the track the way we used to hear back in the day. That was like commonplace back then. Where do you find that balance?
I often find that that's a little untrue for me, because it is different. The cadence is different. Records are shorter.
Yep.
So intros and outros and bridges and different things are challenged in a different way. But the way they kind of spit in the alternative verse is sort of like a bridge or a twist to a verse. So you're like, it's like one verse and a saucy verse, which could be a bridge, but it's a verse.
Yeah.
But then you got to realize that the music today is in great hands, because you got singers like Chris Brown and Bruno Mars and Mario and just all kinds of great young singers, man. And again, it's whenever you come out of an era going into a different era, there's going to be a transition. They said hip hop wouldn't last. You know what I'm saying? 50 years ago, people were trying to ban hip hop from a legislative situation. You know what I'm saying? So the answer to your question is, when you love music, you learn to embrace what, again, feels good. And even if 80% of it isn't good, or 75 or whatever, the part that is amazing from these young kids, and I mean like the girls, Summer Walker, you got like Jasmine Sullivan is a monster.
My favorite.
Like just a beautiful like vocal genius. And there's so many. You got Summer Walker, you got Ellie Mae, you got Teyana Taylor. I think is so gifted, it's ridiculous. So again,
Absolutely.
I that's what keeps my love for music. When I'm not doing music and I'm involved in my other businesses, I get to still be a fan. Like when I first started, when I used to listen to GQ or Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass, any one of those guys. So releasing music 27 years later, one is natural to me. But I was inspired because I hooked back up with somebody that I met when he was 15 who went on to do amazing things in music, Vincent Herbert. We
Yeah.
hooked back up
Shout out to
and the
Vince.
music energy was amazing. We got with the GOAT in Atlanta, Troy Taylor, and the rest
Yeah.
was history. We just I've been fortunate and humbled that these superheroes, whether they are they have Grammy hits. The other night we just hung out with JD and it was dope. I think we're gonna see what we do in the kitchen with Jermaine Dupri. I mean,
Come on.
who knew that 20 years later I'd be doing a fusion, Jermaine Dupri and Christopher Williams, or working with Brian Michael Cox or Troy Taylor, all these people that when I was transitioning into a hiatus,
Yeah.
and people like to say your career was over, you know, we're, first of all, we're nine ether. Nothing's ever over.
That's right. I
And,
mean, you're a
they just,
legend, man. You're a legend, and your music is evergreen at this point, right? So it's like,
thank you.
even I mean, this is that record came out what 91, 92,
That's
and
crazy,
you know what I
right?
mean. And this is almost 35 years later, and the record still goes hard, still brings that same nostalgic feeling, and it just make you want to dance and make you want to party. And it's obviously that's not the fullness of your catalog, but you contributed
Well,
something. Go ahead.
Well, you said early in the conversation that I'm known as a powerhouse balladeer, like a power.
Exactly.
But that's what's interesting, also unfortunate about my career. Between every little thing and talk to myself and dreaming, I've been capable of not only having ballads, but knocks that people really, really, jam that they really dance to, that they really still enjoy after all these years. The remix of every little thing on the East Coast. Rest in peace, Clark Kent.
Come on.
People go nuts when that joint. When we do that joint live, they go nuts. The house goes
Nuts.
up. So I'm always humbled, man. Like I said, just to be a part of this, team. It's like being a part of the dream team. It don't matter what position I play, fan. If I'm on the bench cheering my other cats on, whether young, middle, or there's a lot of talented people in music, and I think that sometimes we start to try to find what's wrong with it instead of focusing on what's right with it. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
No,
I
no.
think music is in great hands. I think it was a letdown for Marvin Gaye and all those guys to get older, and then you had to deal with Gerald Levert, Keith Sweat, Johnny Gill.
Fresh.
You know what I'm saying? After Seven, Christopher Williams, Al B. Shore.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, now a new set comes. So now you got Jaheim,
Yeah.
Genuine, Case, all my
Yeah.
little brothers, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cisco, all of them, gifted,
No doubt.
monster hit records. So this rainbow is amazing, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. But I'm one of the light skinned generals, and, and we're
Yeah.
happy to be back
That's the point.
after
Look,
27 years.
that's the point. You like the original you, LB, Elder Bars, the original like OGs, light skinned pretty boy,
Yeah.
vocal killers. No, I get it. So talking back about the record, you mentioned Troy Taylor, and big shout out, he's a friend of the show, to him. Um, when you first heard "Good Enough," your new single, when you first heard the final mix, like how'd you feel when you first find the final mix of that record? How'd you feel?
We knew before we got to the mix. First of all, I can't even take credit for Good Enough. I'd like to, but I was getting ready to go do a different record.
Okay.
And Vince was like, "Yo, do me a favor. Let's do this now. Don't listen to the other joint." Then Troy called me, and then once Troy called me, I was like, "Okay, we're doing Good Enough anyway." So I just prepared to go in the studio. But working with Troy, we have a magic. I think it's a thing where only iron can sharpen iron. He's one of the best. He's
No
one of
doubt.
the he's got to be one of the greatest ever. And it's like I said, just an honor to come back with so much velocity and these league of extraordinary gentlemen and women around me that are helping to push this through. So we're excited. The new single "Good Enough" is definitely performing, and we're just going around putting the word out, letting people know that we're coming back. New show, new tour. 26, we got a tour going, so it should be really nice. We can't announce
Awesome.
every it's not set, but it's pretty much
But
set.
yeah,
The,
putting it
the
together. I
bread is in
got
the
you.
oven.
Yeah, the fans are celebrating your return. I mean, I guess to the big stage you've been in and out. Can you talk about the transition period? I guess how long or why it's taking you so long to come back with new music?
I mean, just honestly business, and then as a man, you grow up and I start doing other things, and honestly, music goes through seasons, and it wasn't chasing me. I can honestly say that, and I'm cool with that. It's like seed time and harvest for everything. That's why I said, if music is all you are, or being famous is all you are, then there is no all you are. I've always been a man first. It gave me time to be around my family. I started developing property. I got a restaurant opening, Vegan Solicious in Brooklyn, partnered up with
Nice.
Chef Charlize Rockwood from England, who's an amazing Jamaican vegan chef. She's got the best calamari I've ever tasted in black
Wow.
eyed soup. So just doing a lot of things like that. And it takes the right ingredients. That's why I said early in the conversation, it was like I knew because me and Vince had gone through some major health stuff, and I knew that when we aligned back together, I was like, this is like divine alignment. And then when we went in the studio and Good Enough came out, we had already had a couple of records, but when Good Enough came, it was like we thought it was the perfect blend to lead with. So, we did it, and right now it's performing. So we just continue to get it out there. I'm anxious to go out and start performing it live with the band, and putting the vibe out there live, because it's always fun to do it live with
No,
the
absolutely.
people who love music, and
That's
just
right.
have fun, man. I'm blessed, man. We still doing this 36 years later, man. It could
Crazy.
be nothing better. I'm anxious to go around the world next year. I think in the summertime I'm going back to Europe. I haven't been to Europe in a while. So, like I said, it feels brand new, but it feels like home.
Gotcha.
You
You
know, one
talked
of
about you talked about health. So you survived a life-threatening, I guess, health battle a few years ago. Can you talk about the experiences that reshaped you as an artist or just as a man in life?
Yeah, it definitely does, man. I know we all going through something now, but 3 years ago I had kidney failure. Around the same time, I'll be sure, his liver had failed. And Al had to have a transplant, unfortunately, but he's well and doing well. But I was able to heal naturally. You
Bless.
know, I bet on myself and some people that I believe in who have always been really healthy. Big shout out to my brother Al Payne from the House of Pain. That G Money from New Jack City. That's really my brother from another mother in real life.
Yeah.
So, we just got in and we just believed, man, and we just started fasting all the disease out of my body, and then recalibrating and building, because I was 130 pounds, paralyzed and crippled, couldn't walk for
Wow.
8 months. I couldn't talk for 2 months. The first time I spoke was the first week of January 22, which
Wow.
I had been down since November 5th was the night they picked me up. And I didn't come out of the coma till right before Thanksgiving. I think they said it was 23 or 24 days. I try to forget now, because again, though it is a testimony, it's almost like it's weird to say I don't ever want to go through anything like that again, but I think it might have been the best thing that ever happened to me, because it had time for me to just receive amazing revelation, which is part of why I'm doing it. One of the major reasons why this was the time to do it again. It felt like you felt like the creator was just telling me, I'm not done. You have an assignment to do. Your email has been CLW Lion of Judah for a long time, and you
Come
have
on.
had a company called the Promised Land. I have equipped you to do this. And, miraculously and by the grace of God, I came out of it, man. And I'm able to play with my kids and my grandkids. So it's
Yeah.
like I said, man, everything's good, man.
That's a blessing,
Everything's
brother.
super good, yeah. And
That's a
all my
blessing.
colleagues have just hugged on me and loved on me every time I see somebody new. I just had a show with Drew Hill, and just to feel like the way Scola and them and Noak and Cisco and all them hug me, and that happens every time, whether I'm with Faith or this one or that one. It is humbling. But again, this music is love. This
Yeah.
music is
Yeah.
love.
Was music, I'm sure it was, but I guess we can talk about music being a part of your healing process.
Oh, definitely, man. So I'm gonna tell you the funny thing that happened in the hospital. Yeah, I talked about it earlier. The funny thing that happened in the hospital. So the first night, I wouldn't take the vax. So they I'm paying insurance for years. I'm supposed to go to the hospital near the beach in Santa Monica, California, overlooking the ocean.
Yeah.
And they said they only got beds for patients who took the vax. So I said, oh no. So I said, well, where I got to go? Because I definitely wanted to get out of ICU in the hospital, because I was like, I'm going to die if I stay in here.
Yeah.
So they got me out, but I wound up going to Inglewood in like a gangbanging neighborhood. And they were calling it the Dirty Sniff. So the first night, my people had to leave me in there, right? The one thing they had is the lady was nice enough to turn on the television. First night I turned on the TV, they got this only 2 channels, Telemundo and HBO, and they got
Okay.
Teddy Pendergrass's life story on the joint.
Come on. Come on.
This is like my musical daddy.
That's what you, bro.
So
I
I'm
literally.
like, I'm
That's what you
watching,
sound like.
and I'm paralyzed.
Mm,
I'm watching his story. Yo, I cried so much. I'm telling you, I think the bed floated back out in the hallway.
come on.
But it was like my whole, and I just decided that night, I was like, I ain't giving up. I'm not dying, and I'm going to walk.
Wow.
And it wasn't like that easy. But that night I had
Yeah.
decided that. So when I was going through that, every night was just revelation, 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 revelation. And then all these things started, these ideas started coming in me, writing ideas. Like, and I started seeing what was going to happen. And I didn't know the timing or whatever, but it was like footsteps. And he was sending me different things until, again, when that alignment happened with me and my brother Vincent, because again, once that happened, other things that were weights, and little tiny weights. They weren't going to stop me, because sometimes you just have to have a season over here to get over here.
Yep.
And it just became alignment, man. And like I said, the music locked up, and I knew after all these years to get back and do it together, it was going to be dynamic. So we've been on a journey. And like I said, the love that's been coming from whether it's Jermaine Dupri or B. Cox, all these amazing people, Felly, Stickpen, Sick pen. Why do I always say that? But these guys are super dope, talented. Tajio, it's just been amazing, man. And more to come. Rico Love.
Yeah, shout out to Rico. Oh, you got a record from Rico? That's my
Yeah,
boy.
good
That's
guy. He
that's
used
my
to pick
boy.
me up at 4 in the morning at the gym.
Come on. Now I
But
love that.
yeah, I'm just blessed, man, because again, like I said, I got my guy with me, and I got a league of extraordinary people around me, and the team is just tightening and fastening. The same thing we're doing the show, peeling layers back, and then adding on things that need. Because in 26, we just want to come out, have some fun, and just spread these good vibes,
I
this
love it.
love message.
So let's switch gears a little bit. Your voice helped define '90s R&B, like for sure. When you look back at that era, what stands out the most to you?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
You know, because when I think about that era, I think about. I mean, we talked about the current R&B artists, and I'm obviously this is what I do. So I'm a singer, I'm a writer, I'm a guitar player, I'm in the mix, and there's a lot of incredible talented artists that aren't getting the looks that people in the '90s got in terms of you think about the class of the '90s, man. You mentioned Al B. Sure, yourself, R. Kelly, Joe, Aaron Hall. I mean, it was so many
Yeah,
powerhouse
amazing.
singers. You
Keith
know what I'm
Sweat,
saying?
all. I
Keith
mean, even
Sweat,
and I understand like different styles and different fighting styles, but the texture and the message and the music, and those songs are still they're still lasting and touring. People are touring off of that music.
absolutely.
So I think it was just that moment in time, man, where that fusion happened, and I guess it's like it's South fusion too, because it was like hip hop kind of made it like, yo, let's find a cool way to fuse them together. And there were a lot of different things that came into play, sampling, um, and
Right.
then different production house labels that really started, like LaFace. And so the '90s was special. Like whether it's Teddy Riley's label or all the different Jermaine Dupri, Bad Boy, whoever, they all came. Uptown Records. We
Yep.
had all of these movements that started establishing even the clothes movement, FUBU, everybody, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
Tony and Nietzsche, everybody. It was just so for us it was the golden era. But I think the biggest thing for me, honestly, was the movie starter.
Come on.
Because New Jack City did something different to my career.
I'm sure. Let's talk about that. New
So
Jack
I
City.
would
I,
have to
I
say personally
remember.
for
I
me.
remember. I was about 12 years old when New Jack City came out, and I know we snuck to there's this theater. I'm from Louisiana. We snuck in the theater because obviously it was rated R movie, and we watched that movie. I think me and my brother and one of my cousins watched that movie like 3 times in the same day. You know what I'm saying?
Because you probably was like, wow, they actually put this on this film.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that was a golden time, man. And, for a lot of reasons. Wesley Snipes actually was one of the guys who I'd met. One of his best friends, Darren Cotton, rest his soul, introduced me to Wesley. I convinced me to come down because I was talented, but I was kind of making a lot of crazy decisions as a youth in the streets in the Bronx.
Sure.
And but they had convinced me, man, you need to come on and follow this creative dream. And I wound up taking to ask my grandfather, who was a pastor, to get me a baptism paper to change my name to take my test.
Come on.
And I got into Purchase College, and that's where I first saw Wesley do a play called The River Niger, and inspired me. And he was also our DJ. West is best. With the West is best. Wednesday night is South. True
Come
story.
on. Okay.
So that whole time it purchased between the dancers and the theater and the music department, it was all creative. And I didn't stay long, but it got me prepared. It shifted me to say, I'm going to go do music.
Yeah.
And right after I left Purchase, 2 great things happened to me. I had my first child, and I got my first record deal
Come on.
shortly after.
Come on.
And I was fortunate enough. It's not a story of really banging the pavement too long, and I think that's the difference. It's a blessing and a curse. So we don't have the support of the money of the label, but now, if you can find a way to sort of piecemeal or find some people that believe in you, sweat equity or something, now you can own all your stuff and control all your stuff if you're clever, if you know how to market, if you know how to monetize your page, if you're good at bringing people to your page, if there's something to offer. And these are things that I'm learning even now at this stage. Like traditionally, we buy radio, or you do all the press you can. You want to do the TV run because you want to get on certain shows to have that sort of je ne sais quoi, be like, oh, this is a real
Feel that movement.
star. Yeah, and
Yep.
you got to have real media.
Yep.
So you see energies like Monica and Brandy happen because of things that happened in that golden era.
That's right.
And they were such a part of that. And vocally still so amazing. So when you hear of a tour like that, and then you can go to another decade where you have 4 queens, Chaka, Stephanie, Patty, and Gladys. And you're seeing that this music stands the test of time.
Yes.
These people, through living real lives, through adversity, through all the beautiful people don't realize, everybody has challenges and things in life, but when entertainers get to do this all their lives, the journey, if you love music, it's like any other job. It makes it sweeter.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So in that way, we're blessed. But the curse in the '90s was, again, the deals. But once you get to that point, you can maneuver yourself out, and you start figuring out the business and not just the show.
Yeah.
Then you can move past it.
So talking about like what you obviously, these are lessons that you learned from that time and even things that you're learning now. What do you think R&B artists could learn from the era you came up in?
That it does take autonomy. It takes money to get these careers really at a point. Especially there's so many, like you mentioned, so many gifted artists that don't really get the look.
That's
and
right.
They're out there working every weekend and doing all these things. But what happens is, after time, if something doesn't click. So I wish there was something governmental where an artist could sort of get enough money to just fund their own record company, where they could hire a real, an A-list publicist, do traditional radio in whatever genre you're in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Actually go to seminars again, like we used to have, where you can meet real radio people.
That's right.
So if you have business people, or you're fortunate enough, your parents have money, they may have a house they just want to, do your refi on.
Yeah.
And if you're really good, that $100,000 to $250,000 that you invest in yourself could turn out to be you owning the masters and Now again, there's only one thing about anything in life. There's not one way to skin a cat. You know,
Right.
like LL was signed to a label, and as he elevated, all his deals got better. But now LL's a total businessman, movie star, television star, so he can go back and legally get. He's already got his masters, but again, just saying that there's a journey to it, and so it's a balance, and it's the perspective of how you really see it or how you can deal with it. For me,
Yeah.
it's been, do you have the endurance to survive it? For Charlie Wilson, it's been, do you have the endurance to survive the hiatus?
Yeah.
And by the grace of God, you know, him keeping his hands on the, you know, the gift that was given.
Absolutely. And
You
look
know,
at
and
Charlie still killing it at the highest level. I've seen him. I think I've seen Charlie every year over the past maybe 5 or 6 years, at least once perform, and he's
beast,
beast.
beast. Him and Babyface.
Him,
Babyface is a
no
damn
question,
human jukebox.
no question, no question.
He don't even have a concert. He just has a number ones concert. Just 1 hour straight of number. He don't even go to the records that didn't go number one.
Yeah. I mean, he has so many records that, I mean, we know, I mean, but most people don't even know that he was a part of or he wrote or whatever from so many different artists. He is, in my view, I mean, I don't really, it's hard to select who's GOAT, but, it's, you have the, we talk about Stevie Wonder, we talk about Michael Jackson, Prince. Babyface is in that GOAT conversation with those guys, for sure. So, every long career, and this is to the point you just made, every long career has high
Especially,
moments.
especially in terms of like with Stevie, because they're just so gifted. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Kenny with his pen and his musicianship, his
Yep.
vocal ability,
Yep.
and his artistry. And I think Stevie the same. But Prince and Michael to me are just, they're just enigmas. I
No
don't.
question.
Again, it's hard for me to put anybody next to Mike.
I agree.
It
I
really
have
is.
to agree. I have to agree.
It really is. Only because of the electricity and what he possesses when he's sharing his gift.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of electricity I see with Chris, with Breezy,
Mm.
and
You
the
know,
same gift set. Now I'm not,
I feel you.
catalog and time. Chris still has work, but
Yeah.
you know, he's another one. I think that we should, instead of holding him accountability, and I don't, and whoever doesn't, cool, but he's just super gifted, man. This kid, I seen the dude give a show for 3 hours.
Man, I was just at Chris' show. He came to New Orleans maybe 3 weeks ago. And I'm sorry, October. It was like sometime in October. And I saw that was I want to say that's the last date of the tour. And 3 hour show, killer, killer show. I saw him last year in Austin, Texas. Same thing. Killer show. I mean, and he left a lot of records on the table that he didn't even perform. And to have a 3 hour set, I mean, the last 3 hour set that I enjoyed at that level was Prince back in like '04. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you 100%. I think of this generation, Chris is the closest thing to, him, Bruno Mars, obviously
and,
Beyonce.
and different, because again,
Different.
Bruno can dance too, but
That's right.
Breezy's different.
It's a different thing. I agree. They in a different
He's
air. Yep.
dancer, acrobat, singer, songwriter, and
Man.
he just don't miss.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature for sure. To the point I was gonna ask you in terms of having a long career.
He's like
Um,
my musical son.
come on. Come on.
Both being Chris's.
Come on. So in terms of like long career, high moments, you know, you have low moments, you have difficult ones. Um, what what's been some of the biggest lessons you've learned throughout this period?
Um, how much I love music, but life isn't about music.
Come on.
And once I started operating like that, like I am music, but I'm not concerned about it like that. I'm gonna go after it, but I'm not. A lot of times you hear the people saying I'm chasing something. I've never been that kind of person.
Yeah.
It's not in me. I'm not wired that way. Like when my friends would, even when we were younger, be like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the club. They stand outside the club, or, they calling 15 people to try to. I'm not doing all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always been a person who's like, I'm just gonna organically and naturally be patient, because again, I can audible. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you want something so bad, it may not be the right time for you to do it. or it's not the right season, or you get in it and it's not, again, it's not what you thought it was. And that honestly on the business end was what music became. I'm a kid from the Bronx who chose a gift that God gave me instead of, what was around me and my circumstances.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I got in the music business, I realized it was actually worse than the streets,
Come on.
business wise.
I feel you.
But the show part and the connection and performing the music. But once I got past the disappointment of that, and it was a journey because I went through challenges and changes with different record labels. Some weren't even awful.
Yeah.
David Geffen, my experience with David Geffen, my first deal was amazing, but they just weren't really in the black music business. They were a rock label, but everything was pristine, first class. They treated me like they used to call me, they was like, he's going to be the Black Elvis president. I was like,
Come on.
no, I'm going to be the light-skinned Teddy Pendergrass. I'm not going
Yeah.
to be the Black Elvis
Yeah, yeah.
president.
Was there a moment in the industry, I guess, where you felt misunderstood? Like, and this kind of sounds like to that point. Or you said misunderstood or overlooked.
Yeah, man, I made talk to myself. Bobby Brown was
Come on.
killing the game so hard. They brought me into the office one day, gave me a check for $100,000, and said, "You're gonna sing this record that sounds like my prerogative, but we need a Bobby Brown record."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, "I can't dance." Then they asked me would I get the Gumby and the pants that Bob used to rock the dance
Yeah,
fans,
yeah.
and I was like, "I'll just take the 100." They had another 50 to do that. I was like, "That I can't do." But I will go sing the record. I was like, I'll sing the record.
Yeah.
Timmy Gatlin was a homeboy of mine, and Alton Wilkie Stewart. Big shout out to them. They were assigned to go write this record for me, and Timmy had just left God. He's the original member from God,
Uh-huh.
and just a lot to that in that time period. There were so many idiosyncrasies, and like I said, like I remember at the time, Albie Shore, again, my friend, had sang on "You Can Call Me Crazy," and I was like, "Yo, why aren't you saying that's you on the record?" But all the industry politics that unfortunately are going on, and you learn to cut. And then once you're in it, and they're like, "Oh, you the next hot thing. You're on the wave. You got to
Yeah,
ride it."
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's not just about you, but there's also people who are working hard within the label and on different sides of the business, trying to make efforts to move your situation forward. So, yeah,
Did,
that was my biggest lesson, to really just like have fun doing it. I take it serious, but not that serious. Because again, I'm blessed. I get to go home, have a great family, have great kids. I'm provided for. Things are really good, and I might be
absolutely.
getting my masters back and all the money they stole. So that's even better.
Come on, come on. Did you well I guess this is a sidebar. You and Al B. Sure, in a lot of ways, I know you got confused a lot. Did you like although sonically it didn't sound the same, but I'm sure you were someplace and people thought you were him and vice versa. You have any
Actually,
funny
before my
stories about
record
that?
came out, we were always together, real good friends. Al's from Mount Vernon, I'm from the Bronx, and we met through Andre Harrell and Jimmy Jenkins at Uptown, and we kind of just was cool. We hang out together. And then I was seen with Al at a concert, but I had to leave early, and I left out the front. They thought it was me and chased me.
Come on.
So for like before I came out, would talk to myself, I was Al's stunt double because he was so hot. They was chasing him like Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna go out the front. One side, Jimmy Love would be like, yo, I think I've seen LB. And they would see me. And
Go crazy.
actually, I'm gonna tell you, one night, I ain't gonna lie. The dude said, yo, you Albie Shore? I just said, yeah, and he gave us a VIP table. So me and Al have those kind of instances with each other. Al would call me from the airport and be like, yo, these ladies swear I'm you.
Exactly.
Stuff happens. So yeah, that's been going on for a minute. But yeah, Al's more like the Elder Barbs. They're
On
amazing
that tip.
falsetto vocals,
Yep.
and I'm like a thunder and lightning, like
No question.
Teddy Pendergrass, Sam Cooke,
No question.
and my favorite David Ruffin.
Come on, man. Come on. Look, looking back, what do you think young Christopher needed to hear? Like when you think back to the very beginning of your career, what do you feel like you needed to hear from an advisory standpoint or inspiration standpoint?
I think the thing, I don't know if I needed to hear it, but I know the one thing that helped me is that my aunt was a really amazing icon, Ella Fitzgerald. She was an
Come
amazing
on.
jazz singer. So she always told me, Chris, I'm gonna tell you something about this business. Decide whether you really love it, but not from the business. Do you love the song?
Come on.
And if that song stays in your heart, then you can do this forever.
Mm.
Because I used to always ask her when she started getting a little sick and she got older, you're not tired of this? And she was like, that's what keeps me. She literally, like, you could see, I would see my aunt be sickly. They would roll her to the stage. She would get up and just, and this is as she was older. Obviously, when she was younger, she was destroying everything. But I
Absolutely.
would watch her in her older years, 70s and 80s, before she passed, and she could still, she'd light up.
So
So I was like, I wanted
is
to be like that.
Ella Fitzgerald is your aunt, your mom's sister, or father's
She's
sister,
my
or
grandfather's first cousin, but you know, back in the day, we called that
we
auntie.
still do that. We still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still do that. Come on now.
So
We
I
still
was
do.
not able to refer her as my second cousin or whatever
Of
that
course.
chronological nonsense they make up.
Man, that's a powerful flex though. Ella Fitzgerald's my aunt, you know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. Like that's a flex, man. She is one of our
So
all-time greats, like Ella Fitzgerald. You know what I mean? Like,
she is. Like again,
wow.
and that's not something I've ever always mentioned all the time, but I always mention her in conversation now. One, because she's gone. I think in the beginning of my career, there were two things I wasn't trying to make it on being her nephew, and two, those are shoes that I did not really just want to play with or attempt to fill. That was never my objective. So that wasn't the road. And what's funny is she didn't even know I was putting a record out. When I first dropped Talk to Myself, a stewardess came and said something about a record. And she
Come
said,
on.
that sounds like my nephew. She said, who made that record? They said, Christopher Williams. And that's how my aunt found out I had a record.
Nice.
And even
Nice.
funnier story is we work with a lady who used to work with who works with us, Steve Harvey. I think she still has affiliation with Steve Harvey.
Hmm.
And she met my aunt as a stewardess in first class. And she has pretty dark skinned girl, really shapely, petite. And my aunt looked at her and said, "My nephew would like you," and that's Sharon Page. So big
Wow.
shout out to Sharon Page. She's gonna really be happy I said her name. But
Wow.
then years later, I was doing something with a Steve Harvey event. She said, so she mentioned that she's heard I was in a restaurant, and she said, "Is Christopher Williams here?" Because I met his aunt Ella on a plane when I was a stewardess, but I knew she was a media or press person because of who she was talking to.
Yeah.
And we had that conversation. I was like, wow, my aunt. It made me feel good because I was like, my aunt. We had a real, not music relationship.
A
We
real
had a
connection.
nephew relationship.
No, I
And
love
she
that.
knew the kind of girls I liked and everything. She looked at Sharon. She was like, "Oh, you got little cute feet." And you. She was like, "Oh, my nephew would like you."
Come on. Come on. I'm Dreaming hitting #1 on Billboard, and it's obviously still a classic. Can we talk about how the inception of that song, and did you know it was going to be as big as it was once you did it?
Yeah, my manager at the time had hooked me up with Stanley Brown's manager, and they put the song together. I had filmed the movie already, and it was just a magical time, man. Like I said, not only did I get the movie after auditioning for the movie and filming the movie, we got to record "Dreamin," and we initially thought it would be a song that we would do with Teddy Riley, but we were fortunate enough to meet one of his proteges, Stanley Brown, who wound up giving me basically the biggest record in my career. Me and Stanley are still great friends. We like bros to this day. So it was just an impactful record. And again, we bring it up Michael Jackson because I'm a baritone.
Yeah, yeah,
And Stanley has me in the studio going, act like you're Michael Jackson. Like just
yeah,
use it. I'm going in the studio, I can't get it on my you know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh shit, he's doing it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he just was like, that's it. That's it. Because I was trying to sing it like Luther. Like I
yeah,
was
yeah,
trying to catch that Luther vibe. He was like,
yeah.
no, 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 no. I need you to go. I need you to get that Michael Jackson feeling,
Yeah,
and another the branches that man's gift,
that's right.
has spread through, whether it's Usher or Justin Timberlake or my
Hmm.
man Breezy. Is
Yep,
he was a tornado, a hurricane, an earthquake, and some other stuff.
no question. He was every element there is and more.
Yeah, yeah, he
Um,
really was.
so we think about your greatest inspiration. You talked about Teddy Pendergrass. You talked about David Ruffin. Um, these guys. like talk about how they inspired you and what did they mean to you as R&B, the legacy before you.
Well, vocally, my inspirations honestly were Marvin, Teddy, David Ruffin. I say those were three strongest. Of course, I love Stevie Wonder and I love Michael Jackson, as I stated, but again, Stevie's just different.
Sure.
You know, Stevie's different. I know a lot of guys who try to encapsulate and they kind of can get Stevie's sound and his runs and
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah.
he was just different. And I was so into girls at such a young age that when I
Yeah.
heard Teddy and Marvin's music, I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it right
Yeah.
there. And then as I started singing, it resonated with where I was vocally. I always had a big husky voice. I think me and Johnny Gill are probably the most manly child singers that have probably ever lived. Because I was singing like a grown man at 12 years old.
Come on.
Not a grown man, but
I feel
the
you.
tone of it, and that's why it never
With the
fit.
with the roundness and the volume. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why at that
Yeah.
time it wasn't my season. People was like, "Why you?" Because I was auditioning for movies and stuff when I was that age, because I had been adopted and my parents were trying to get me in the arts or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, and we've mentioned Teddy P a few times. Teddy P is one of my favorite artists, and when I'm listening to your music today, it just obviously bringing me back. I said, man, and I said this. Christopher Williams reminds me of Teddy Pendergrass. I literally said that at least 3 times on the phone with people today. So you saying that it hits home, but that's why that's why I had this show. I'm the R&B ambassador. That's what I do. I am always tapping in and just dissecting everything. So, is there going to be any more acting, any more film projects?
Television first. Me and my business partner have a television show along with a couple other of our partners called the Book of Akbar. Kareem Akbar, the character from New Jack City,
Yeah,
he gets out the feds.
come on.
He did his life sentence. He comes home, and a small caption of it. It's amazing. We turn the perspective of having to hustle into a business,
Come on.
and we go from in 100 episodes. We're gonna go from how we how we see each other, how we deal with each other, and change it into a modern Kemet. And the rest is. But we've got an amazing story. I think people are gonna love it. If you've ever loved like the, Godfather Harlem or
Absolutely.
Snowfall or The Wire or anything like that, you're gonna love the Book of Akbar.
Oh my God! So when can when can we expect this? That sounds amazing.
26.
Come on, Book of Akbar. All right, noted. Noted. What do you think your legacy in R&B will be when it's all said and done?
Guess a Renaissance man.
Come on.
Yeah, Renaissance man. Because like I said, man, I've had such an amazing journey, man. Like again, back to the point I was making with reconnecting with Vincent. Like I met this dude when he was 15 years old, 14 years old. He came to me with a whole staff. You know what I'm saying? And who could foresee that 36 years later,
Yeah.
individually have our own journeys, but to see a kid, like
Yeah.
when you're 14, 15, you're a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go from that to accomplish all the things, and now we're like, man, and we're getting to do this. It's really gratifying.
Yeah.
It's like, it's mysteriously and divinely beautiful. I've had connection with Patra and Faith and all these connectors, and then to see, like I said, my younger brothers, these people get into business and they start having, they start fulfilling their dreams and they start affecting musical culture and making musical history.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's dope, man.
I love that. Um, what's the biggest message you have for the fans who've been waiting for you all these years?
Thanks for being patient. Thanks for being patient. It's not that I had you waiting. I think it was just it was it was uh, it was almost like I say what I needed to go through to get to the promised land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything was good and provided for. It just wasn't music. But
Yeah.
now that it's clear and it's my time, we're gonna close this second chapter out stronger than the first.
I love
And
it.
it's
I love it.
inspiration, like we talked about, whether it's Uncle Charlie or, and again, like seeing my kids. doing so well. Everything is good in life. My mom is alive at 88 years old.
God bless.
Still going to the gym 3 times a week and won't give up a driver's license. I can't wrestle that joint out of him.
Come on.
So I'm fortunate, man, and just got a loving, beautiful family. I do miss my pops. We lost him 5 years ago. But again, these things, you know, he's better now in this transition. So we're good. And when I look at the faces of all my kids, man, it's go time because they're grown. They're good. It's just go time.
That's a blessing, man. I got one last question.
Inspiration is me. Is I'm about to get back in the best shape of my life.
Come on.
After being paralyzed. That's why I said I got my LL look on. I'm like, I'm getting ready to get my LL.
You getting swole? Yeah. I love it. Now, look, I think that's most important for sure. Definitely with young black men out here in the world. You see a lot of guys. Ironically, I was working out this morning, and it's just you look around and you see guys in their 30s, 40s, 50s working out, and I'm in 60s, and I'm like, it's always amazing to see anybody, but definitely to see our black brothers keeping it together, through all the ups and downs that we face, staying in shape, keeping our health at the top of the agenda, and that's always very important. Now we are, again, I'm saying we, but our community, Can We Talk R&B as a community? I'm more than excited to have you on the show, and just love the fact that you're still contributing incredible music to the ethos, and man, just adding more value to this pantheon of R&B that that we love. And I'm really looking forward to diving back into all of your catalog, but specifically the new music that you're doing right now is amazing. So above all, man, you the man, dog. Like it's just really amazing to have you out here, man. Still putting music out at a high level.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, and I want everybody to know I'm not just playing with War and Peace. This is like this is gonna be the greatest like music thing I've done so far to date. Like this War and Peace is gonna be killer. I'm glad y'all stayed tuned. So War and Peace is coming, but right now, Good Enough is good enough.
God bless. Look, as always, it's a continued conversation. It's your boy Ian Vaughn. We have Christopher Williams in the building. Can we talk R&B?
Yes, sir. If we can. Can we talk?
Yes.
Can we talk? Oh, can we talk? Can we talk?